Hello everyone out there. This video is an idea that I've had for a while now about giving you the opportunity to feedback your ideas to me on a regular basis. So in other words, I intend to make this video or a video like this one every week to give you that opportunity. So if there are any burning requests that you have or any questions that you feel I could cover in a particular video, then this is the place to do it. So every week I'll make a video putting out feedback from your suggestions on the channel to give you a feel for where I'm going and what I'm doing and how I'm responding to your very interesting comments. Please keep the comments going. They're so interesting, so useful for me, because otherwise I have no idea of what you're thinking. But it does give me a chance to see which way you're most interested or what most interests you in the fiddle music that I put up on the channel. So just going on to one or two specific things now. These are queries that I've made a note of, and if there are any that I've missed out, please do not be offended. Please come on here and just make the comment again so that I can see your request, because sometimes with the best will in the world, sometimes occasionally I do overlook things and do miss things out, and I don't do it intentionally. It's generally because there are so many things going on in normal everyday life that it's easy to forget things. So please remind me and prompt me, and if I'm able to, I will try and endeavour to make a video or give you some feedback on your particular query. Okay, so moving on to specifics now. One of the questions I've been asked recently is by a lady who's asking me how I can, or how I approach the end of a tune, how I find the best way to finish a set of tunes. Now I have a couple of techniques for that, and also I have techniques for starting tunes, because what has made me sort of think seriously about that is both my work in Kayleys, where you need to know specifically how the tune is going to start, so the dancers are aware of how they're going to begin dancing, and also the end of a tune, so that the other people in the band know exactly how we're all going to finish, and hopefully on the same note or chord. So yeah, I do have a way of approaching that, and there is a video planned to cover that. Moving on, the Strayaway Child. I've been asked to provide the musical notation for my version of the Strayaway Child, which of course is a Michael Gorman tune. And Michael Gorman was a well-known fiddle player in the 60s in London, and I believe he wrote that tune around about the same time. However, I try and stick very closely to his original version in my particular version of that tune. So I'm about halfway through notating that at the moment. There are about 6 parts in that tune, so it's quite a lengthy tune to notate. And then of course to make an accompanying lesson to go with that is quite time consuming. So it's on the go, so please be a little bit patient on that one. Moving on now, I've also had a request today, or some information requested about flats, sharps, naturals. And that's a good point, because it's very easy to overlook the fact that when you're first starting out, it can be confusing. If somebody's talking about flats and sharps and naturals, what on earth are they talking about? And I can appreciate that, because I remember when I was first learning the fiddle and trying to teach myself how to read music, it was mighty confusing. So that's something I want to try and clarify and simplify as best as I can. So please keep an eye out for a video dealing specifically with that. And I'll try and wrap it up with a nice little tune as well. So that will put the whole thing into a relevant context and give some idea about where flats and sharps and naturals kind of fit in. So that's on the go. Moving on, I had another query regarding starting to play the fiddle, starting to play the violin. Now, of course, I mentioned the word violin and fiddle there because they are really different beasts in a way. I know they're exactly the same instrument, but the approach to fiddle music is very different from the approach to violin music. Now, the query was, it's quite difficult to learn to play the fiddle, particularly getting your hands on the fretboard the fretboard and being able to hit the right note and playing the wrong note and everything else that can go wrong when you're first teaching yourself to play. I understand that because, hey, listen, I can remember when I first started, goodness me, what a racket that would have been. You know, fortunately, it was many years ago. But being self-taught, I do understand how complicated it is to understand how to get your hand in the right position and hold the blooming instrument in the correct way and all the rest of it, holding the bow and everything. And as many of you know, I don't hold the instrument in the correct manner. But hey, what works, okay for me, fine. I managed to get a tune out. So I'm quite happy at that. And that's the difference, I think, with fiddle playing and violin playing. Violin playing is an art. You know, it's a serious method of studying the instrument and playing it in a beautiful way. Fiddle playing is more of a rural, a sort of, how can I say, it's more of a feel. You play the instrument by feeling for the instrument, by understanding the music, understanding the tunes, understanding what the music is for. It's not purely for listening, it's very much for dancing as well. And I know there are some beautiful tunes, Irish airs and slow melodies, the melancholy melodies from Scotland and everything else, beautiful. But the fiddle primarily is designed to make people want to get out their chair, tap their feet, dance around. It's a happy instrument. And that's why you can approach it in a slightly different way, in a more relaxed way perhaps. Anyway, we'll look at that. That's definitely a video I want to make and try and put across how we can approach that kind of idea. The big thing is listening to other fiddle music, learning an appreciation of the style of music, and then basically once it's into your mind, it then becomes easier to start to impart onto the instrument. Anyway, I'll save that for a lesson. Moving on, finally, there's been another request to put out a lesson on the Orange Blossom Special. Well, that's a tune that I'm not really terribly au fait with. I don't come from that specific background of fiddle playing, and sure, I could do a lesson, but hey, it wouldn't be anything like as good as some of the really top fiddle players who are on YouTube, who do lessons on specifically tunes like the Orange Blossom Special, which really is not in my ballpark, as it were. So that's one I might just have to skip on, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but there you go. It wouldn't be the best of lessons. I think it's best to know your own limitations, and that's certainly one of mine. Finally, there was a lot of interest in the bow video that I put up. It was a sort of temporary kind of video. It's one that lasts for a week or something like that. Anyway, I was trying the idea out because YouTube write to me and say, oh, try this idea out. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. But actually, there was a lot of interest in it. So I think it might be worth making a proper video on that one and just sort of working my way through the various bows I have. I don't have an awful vast selection of wonderful handcrafted bows, I'm afraid. Most of mine have come from quite a cheap place, a source as it were, so they aren't very expensive, but there are some that play very well, so that might be an interesting video as well. Finally, what the idea behind this is to give you feedback. So in other words, you can say to me, hey, have you thought about doing this? You can put a comment down. Now, a lady did ask me, could I do a video on a tune, or could I write out the notation for one of the tunes that I made a video on some time ago? And I must be honest, it's slipped my mind. It's gone off a piece of paper. I have no idea where that piece of paper's gone. There's been a whole host of things happened in between that time, and I've lost it. I'm very, very sorry. I've lost that request, so I can't remember what the tune was and what the name of the lady was who actually made the request. So if you are that person, will you please get back in contact and let me know again exactly what the tune was in the comments below this video, so I've got some way of remembering what it is that has been requested. That's the idea behind this video, by the way. I think it's going to be a weekly thing. I think I'm going to try and make this video a weekly event so that you can feed back to me exactly what your thoughts are. Only kind ones, please. Nothing too unkind, but certainly requests and things like that, and I can try my best to feed back to you whether I can do them or not, or whether I've run out of time because the grandkids have invaded the studio again, which happens a lot these days, and so, you know, my time is not completely all down to YouTube, I'm afraid. I have loads of other things going on, plus of course the gigs are starting to come in now for later on in the year now in the UK, because we're gradually coming out of lockdown. Hooray! Thank goodness for that. Let's hope that things go ahead as planned. And if they do, well, yeah, that'll be marvellous. But I still intend to really spend time on YouTube, of course, because it's a great way of communicating with everyone. And in spreading a bit of joy, a bit of fun with the fiddle, because it's a wonderful instrument. I do love all of the other instruments, the banjo and the guitars and everything else, but obviously the fiddle is my main love, as it were. If you can possibly say you love an instrument, I guess I can get away with that in 2021. Anyway, listen. Thanks for watching. This is just feedback. Leave comments below. This will be a weekly thing, and then I can try and keep up with your requests and give you feedback. That's the idea. Okay, take care. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.